everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for the finale of Survivor 45. My name is Mike Bloom, and it's only appropriate that with the holiday season, we're hanging a big old mistletoe at the end of Survivor 45. Congratulations to D, the winner, as we cap off a messy, wild, suboptimal season with a messy, wild, suboptimal finale. We have so much to get into. We're going to talk, obviously, the entire 3-hour chunk, everything that happened, the closest vote that we've gotten in nearly 10 seasons of the show, and of course, talk about the season as a whole. Now, this is the final three to talk about this, though I think in this case, we're kind of all Jake in a manner of speaking, just due to how we act. Liana, are you taking offense to that?
Let me push back on that, okay? I'm an Emily through and through, not so much a Jake, although I would take both as a compliment.
Nah, Liana, I did see you stomp in here and break all the podcasting apparatuses that were around you.
Break everything, lose a puzzle piece, fail to eat a potato correctly. Like, there's just so many reasons why Jake and I vibe. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you ever needed sort of like a microcosm of what the dodo edit is, it was the shot of Austin and Jake having their bro down and the very much inessential shot of Jake trying to eat a potato on his fork and it falling off.
I laughed so hard. That may have been my favorite moment of the entire finale because I've been talking about this Jake falling over, Jake doing his little walk with like the paddle
flippers,
things,
yeah.
with the flippers. There's so many moments of that. And I feel like the editors were just giving us one more good Jake Dodo moment. It was amazing.
Well, we were not letting this guy fall off our fork in terms of potential guests, and I can think of no better person to end the Survivor 45 season than a person who may or may not have seen them in action 3 times over the course in a live capacity this season. It depends on what corner you were wandering into. It is, of course, the inimitable Chappell.
Hey, thank you. This is great. I love the B&B. It's nice. I love what y'all doing with the place. Yes, and this is a very important time because it's the holiday season, and dare I say it, 'tis the season for love. Yeah, maybe, right?
Maybe.
This D and Austin thing. I wasn't prepared to come here and talk about this kind of stuff, but y'all know I've seen them 3 times, so I got the inside scoop. I'm ready. Let's talk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering if part of me was thinking with the holiday season, okay, is D gonna do that holiday car commercial and like Austin walks out of his home one day and finds a car with a giant bow on it from D, as sort of like a nice little prize for everything that they did together on the season. But then I remembered Emily's, I'm gonna say, threat in her final words, and I realized that D, who has done a very good job at watching her words carefully the entire season, would do so as well after the season.
Yeah, Emily coming in and saying don't you spend a dime on that boy or else. Like, I'm like, Queen, she did it. Bring her back for All Stars. What else can you say?
That's the thing, is it was also in the delivery. Like, it wasn't just, don't you spend money on that boy. It was like, if you spend 1 penny on that boy, I will fly to Florida and take it from you, or whatever the exact wording was that made it just the extra bit iconic.
Yeah, you think Emily is like paying off the NSA to just track all of D's Venmos of like, you slide 1 cent into that boy's Venmo. If he asks for $1 for the vending machine, you say, go to the gas station and pay with your credit card.
Love it. It was such a good thread. But if anybody needs to be getting paid, maybe it's Katurah. I mean, this episode, this entire little sequence of D winning, I'd argue that if not for Katurah just doing something completely out of whack at the final 5, we have a completely different outcome here, and there's no telling who wins the game. So yeah, Austin might not be able to get a dime, but Katurah should be having her hand out right about now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I find it so appropriate. I mean, I really enjoyed this finale. We'll get into it. I think it was such a perfect representation of season 45, where if you just came in the day after and you look at the main headline, you say, oh, D1, I had this thought going in. Guess it was a pretty like rote, by the book, coronation 3-hour celebration of D as the winner. And it was anything but. This season, at every single turn, has gone with ideally like what the optimal outcome should be, but takes by far the messiest path to get there. It is going through the placemat maze at the restaurant, but it's taking at least 3 times as many left turns as it should.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, it was so funny because Puya and I were watching this together, and it was like, we both thought D was gonna win, D's gonna win. We get to that final 5 vote, and his first comment was to me, "Is Austin gonna Gabler this?" Like, that was the first thought because it just felt like, no way is D gonna be able to be safe here, and somehow at the last second, we get that curveball, that turn in the maze, that just gives us what we expected to happen, but in the most ridiculous way possible with Katurah last minute decision to flip her vote, which is so wild as a decision in and of itself. Like, I get the self-preservationist aspect of it, but I'm trying to think like what knowledge did she have? Like she knew that Jake was going to put the vote on D. So did he think that she was going to flip to Julie and like that's why? Like how do you think that there's like 5 votes. Like if you think you're getting the majority of the votes, that's 3. Then 2 votes would be you know what I mean? Like I was like what are you doing, girl?
Yes, it's so messy. It felt
Oh my
like
gosh.
Gabon again. I was like,
Oh,
yes, bring me
yes.
back to my
Yes.
heyday of just cracked Survivor, where it's like, yeah, I just changed my vote because I got a bad vibe. It's like, but there's no way that you said in the camera. That's the thing. If it was an exit interview or something where it's like, oh, she went home and thought about it, but we watched her look at the camera and say, I think I'm getting all the votes, so I'm about to vote for Julie. Well, girl, if you get in 4 votes, what is voting for Julie gonna do anyway? So what were you doing? And then there's an off chance that Jake votes for Julie because you asked him to swear on his grandma. Poor Nana is like wasting his good soul tie on you. And so I'm thinking the same thing. Did she think 2 votes were coming her way from Austin and Jake? Who are you? Who's voting for you, Katurah? I just don't know.
I am obsessed with this vote. I have been since I first watched it because that's obviously a big thing that I want to talk about. But the fact is, we are at the final 5.
Right.
There are 5 people left in the game, and of all the final 5, all 5 were surprised by the outcome. All of them had completely different expectations as to how the vote would go. So yes, Katurah flipped her vote from D to Julie, but she went from a 2 to 1 to 1 to 1 to a 2 to 1 to 1 to 1. No matter how it shook out, we had a 2 to 1 to 1 to 1 vote in the final 5.
And it's so funny because you look at it and it's like a 3-person alliance at the final 5, and you get a 1-1-1-2 vote where the group didn't even vote together. Like none of the 3 voted together, right? Because it was a Katurah vote, a Jake vote, and a Julie
And a
vote.
Julie vote, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, so what? It was so uncoordinated. I love, Chappell, that you mentioned Gabon because I think that that's such an apt comparison.
Yes.
From the messiness of the votes to the voting confessionals to all of it just feels so Gabon.
Yes. Jake and Katurah, they were cast for the wrong season. They are supposed to be on Gabon. When Jake broke the challenge, and not in a strategic way, when he literally broke the challenge, Jeff was like, go to the corner. Go sit your ass down and think about what you done. He's like, but Jeff, we could just fix it. No, we cannot. That's your fault. I'm not stopping this for this. Go back. I was like, it would have taken Jeff 30 seconds probably to go in there and latch that thing back together. But he's like, no, I'm sick of your shit, Jake. I'm tired of it. Go home. Go sit in the corner. And then we have to watch Jake cry about it for the entire episode. I felt so bad. He's just like, I just want to win something. Had he lost that fire, my soul would have left my body.
I don't think he would have made it back from the island. I think he'd be like, just bury me in the sand. I cannot go back home after all this.
100%. I think for me, the funniest part about the Jake temper tantrum is him. Okay, I don't know why, but he looked like a toddler, like stomping around on his toys.
Listen, I understand. Like, I do think Jeff dug a bit too hard into Jake at the final 5 of like, hey, remember at jury when he lost the puzzle piece? Jay, just in case you want to vote for him 2 days from now, remember that this guy can't hold on to a pair of keys. But I do think I felt very seen in that moment as someone who is the father of a 4-year-old that does not know how to listen. I felt so relatable in that moment of like, Jake, I warned you. I told you, don't break the challenge. We give that to you for a reason. It's your thing. and you play with it, and now you can't play with it anymore. So I'm sorry, Jake. I have to take it away. Okay, go play. Go sit on. Go look at your screen.
I told you, I gave you the expectations. You violated those expectations. So go sit in the corner and think about what you've done. Yeah, it was exactly that. Oh,
We love
man.
soft parenting. We do. We
Oh,
do.
it was. Oh, it was so good. And like obviously I understand his frustration. I don't know if I would have gone full stomp mode. But it was definitely a choice.
I mean, it was tough because, again, he was there. He was going to win the final immunity challenge. And then it all came tumbling down. And he literally was just said, F it. And just started like the jolly green motherfucking giant. Just bulb, bulb, bulb. Godzilla -1 all over the challenge. John Kierhofer, I think, throws his hands up like, "What? This is my life's work. What is this man doing?"
It's one challenge in 45 seasons. And you mean to tell me they couldn't throw a production person out there to be like, all right, let's just fix it so he can continue. And the craziest thing is that had D gone at 5, Jake could have been looking at the immunity to get him to the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, to where he actually had a fighting chance. Because I'm assuming at this point, you just vote out Austin. You make Austin go to fire or something like that. And you just let the chips fall where they lie or whatever. And so it's like, for Jake, every step of the way, he was just in his own way. Each thing, it was like they were comparing it to like Owen and the Charlie Brown. This Owen has nothing on this.
Nope.
Owen has
absolutely
nothing on this. Owen started to win challenges at the end and throughout the game. Jake was losing pieces in every challenge. Remember, even in the challenge that he won, he's like, oh shit, another piece. Like every time you look up, Jake was losing something, tripping on something, falling down, couldn't get the alliance together, couldn't get the votes to go. And then I see people on Twitter like, I thought Jake was going to get more votes. Jake didn't even think he was going to get more votes. What are y'all talking about?
Yeah, he literally told me like, oh yeah, when I won fire making, I thought this was nice. But even if I threw myself into fire making, did a back handspring and staying the Star Spangled Banner backwards to this jury, I probably wasn't getting any votes. Like, I feel bad because I wanted, we'll talk about this in the predictions, like, I manifested Jake in the final 3 because he promised, like, yeah, I'm going to bullshit tribal council, I'm going to make this a performance, but, like, by the time he got to it, he was just so beaten down that he's like, if I just win fire, that is not even icing on the cake. That is icing on top of a piece of cardboard that I have tried to make cake for the past 25 days.
Yeah, to me, it's like Jake's story, and I put myself in his shoes, and I'm just like, God, that must be so frustrating because it's just you're digging yourself a deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper hole. And by the time you get to fire making, it's like someone gave you a 1-foot stool. Like you're not getting out of the hole. Like, great, I'm glad that you got a little bit of a boost, but that doesn't really do much for you because just consistently throughout the game, like the one thing that he really had going for him is that. Well, I mean, he never got voted out, right? Nobody ever decided that he was a big enough threat. Wonder why that was, right? And that's the thing is like he was then sort of dealing with the way that everybody perceived him and being, sort of this non-threat. Although we did get a little bit, Julie, very eagle-eyed on Jake, wanting to take Jake out. So there was some element to it there, but it was, the most Charlie Brown of all the Charlie Browns.
Yeah. So to go to Katora, of course, I talked with all the final 5 at the time of recording this, and I did speak with Katora, obviously, about a decision that has probably left her with insomnia for the past 7 months, considering, I mean, this has to be one of the biggest sliding doors we've seen on the show in quite some time, considering it was one impromptu decision. So what she said to me was that it was less about like, oh, I thought that it was all going to be on me and that, like, I didn't know if Jake would play the idol on me or anything. It seemed more so that she felt something was off with Jake, that she just felt, despite the fact that she insisted all these things, and that's why she said, swear on something to me, that he was hiding something, that he was obscuring something. She was technically correct. And that the thing he was obscuring is, well, listen, I'm a method actor. I want you to behave for real when I play this idol on you. I want you to be surprised. But what she took it to mean as, oh, he's not actually going to do this. Oh, he's got other plans in mind. He's trying to lead me astray. And it really seems like that was the thing. And it is so tragic, but a beautiful culmination of that relationship. My hot take is that Bruce and Katora, very funny to talk about for the memes, but this was all about Katora and Jake as the rivalry of the season. From the beginning, when Katura's like, oh, Jake, tell me more about being a lawyer, to Jake approaching Katura multiple times to force rock draws that Katura spurns him for, to here where Katura screws both herself and Jake over in the process. Like, it's something I don't think we really noticed until this literal 11th hour, Chappell, and it really showed its hand.
But if you go back and watch it, I'm sure it's just there's so many glaring examples of just Jake being like, Katura, guess what we should do? And Katura being like, sure. And it just never working out. But this one, I think she's probably not even lying. Like, I think that even we saw it on the episode where she's like, all right, like we're voting out D, right? He's like, yeah. She's like, I don't believe you. He's like, no, what do you want me to swear on? She's like, swear on your nana. Okay, I swear on my nana. It just something's off. But I really did. I think that in that moment, he probably convinced her. And then throughout the day, she's like, so it's D, right? And he's like, yeah. But there's like this glimmer in his eye because he's so ready to do something in the game.
Yes.
He's like, he's vibrating. She's like, why are you like this? He's like, oh, nothing. You're not happy to go tribal council? Like, no, this is scary. He's like, I'm not scared. It's like, why aren't you more afraid? You know, I know he had a tell. There had to be something that was just telling her that he's not telling me something. There's something he's keeping away from me. And I mean, she's right. He could have just been like, Katura, I'm going to play the idol on you. He's like, but that wouldn't have been enough for him. He had this grand display in his mind, and I think it was playing on his eyeballs like a television screen, right? Like she could just look at it and she just sees like the dollar signs in his eyes. She's like, he's about to pull something weird, I can tell. And so when she got in there, she just didn't trust it. Now, what changing her vote to Julie was going to do, I don't know. But she said, if I change my vote to Julie, he ain't going to get whatever he wants, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah, it was a very personal petty move from that perspective. Yeah, I like that's the thing is that I love that you laid that out, Chappell, because I think that if I was in that situation and I was Katura, I could absolutely understand the decision that she made, at least in terms of not trusting Jake and not wanting to go through with that plan. Because when you start to get that little feeling that something's not right, like you are going to maybe panic a little bit. And I don't know how much tribal council itself actually played a role in her particular decision, because it does seem, at least with her confessional, like so last minute in terms of the flip of the vote. So, you know, we can clown around and laugh and have a good time. But if I was in that situation, I'm sure I would easily make the same mistake.
Yeah, and I think it's also that matter of, again, an end point of their relationship. I mean, it will hit an end point the next day of like, I have not trusted Jake for 24 days. Why would I trust him on day 25? And so it's wild because it ends up being this thing where Jake has always wanted to work with Katura, but Katura has never felt Jake out. I mean, I love that we keep comparing it to Cabone, because this was the vibesiest move on the vibesiest season, where even that 3-person Reba majority, like you said, in which Austin is like, yeah, you got rid of my number one ally, but I think it's fine. We can continue in this game together. Where Austin wants to vote out Katura and then is like, you know what? I think I voted out Julie 2 times before. I think it just makes more sense if I'll vote out her. And Dee's like, great. I'm not going to do that to help give myself a jury vote. And Austin says, okay. Then Dee approaches Julie to say, by the way, Jake has an idol. And Julie goes, no, he doesn't.
Right.
Like, I'm still going to vote for him.
Like, no, he doesn't. Okay. It's fake.
All right. Sure. Yeah, vibes, right? That's what we're going on. Just vibes. Just vibes. Yeah, which also felt like Jake's decision making when it came to the idol. Also, I guess I don't know. I don't know where I saw him say this or when this was, because the entire postseason press and also the episode are a complete blur to me.
Oh, you're telling me.
Or I made it up in my own head. I'm not sure. So the idea of like, well, I'm going to tell everybody, so then that way they won't vote for me, so I can play it on someone else and do something flashy. But then was that the point? Like, why did he tell everybody?
So he did, at least when he talked to me about it, he did seem to make it seem like, okay, he purposely leaked this information. He knew that if he told Austin would tell Dee, then he immediately went and told to Katura. So he knows that's 4 people, including himself, obviously, that are not going to vote for him. And so then he says, okay, how can I make a bigger impact here? And he basically felt, okay, if I play this idol on Katura, it's going to nerf Katora in front of the jury. And we see that, again, if that move paid off, she gets up and she hugs him. Like, she shows, okay, this was something of your doing. This was Jake's, again, big Grand Slam fantasy when all he needed to hit was a freaking single just to get on base. His batting average has been horrible up to this point. As much as I love him, he's like, no. It's going straight for the stands, 400 feet, baby. And then as a result, he plays this idol on her, and he thinks that it's something that will impress him. Obviously, like, he'll be the one to play the idol, to have the correct read. He also felt like, obviously, he was asked, why not do the Joe Mena? Why not do the, okay, attract all the votes to yourself purposely and then play the idol, something that Julie basically did. And he felt in that moment, because again, Liana, like you put so perfectly, the, 6-foot hole with the 1-foot stool, he felt like just playing an idol when all the votes were on you didn't necessarily show power. It more so felt like, hey, you got lucky and happened to find an idol at the time when you should have gone home. And so he's like, let me show that I have a pulse on the game, not just saying that, oh, I know I'm in danger, so I'll play the idol. Let me know exactly who is in danger, play the idol there, and still make my move.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
look,
that makes sense.
Yeah, but two things. One, how was Jake going to get all the votes on him? What the hell was he gonna do? This man has done nothing. All of a sudden,
to be fair, when the girls were talking, they were ready to do it.
Yeah, he's like,
Maybe.
I'm gonna draw the votes on me. Maybe. Yeah, exactly. I was like, how are you gonna draw all the votes for him? It sounded like they could have come to him, and that would have been decent. And you're right, that would have been enough, Jake. That would have been enough. But not only did the opposite thing happen, but y'all, Katura's reaction, actually, he probably owes people money just for making it to the final 3, because her reaction, have we ever seen somebody get an idol play on there and their reaction is, oh no. She was in horror because it was like a slow moving train wreck. All she's seeing is, I'm safe, but oh my God, I switched the vote. And it's Julie, and it was supposed to be Dee, and now Dee's gonna win the whole thing. Oh my God, I'm not even gonna be like, who screams, oh no? It was like somebody proposing to you and you just like start crying. Like, whoa.
No,
What are you doing? Get up.
Well, my favorite part, though, was Jake's reaction to it. Because, again, he thinks he has made himself implicitly immune by being like, I'm playing the idol. So first vote, Katora, does not count. Yes, we did it. Second vote, Jake. Oh, shit. Oh.
Yeah, God damn it.
Yes, God, Chappell.
It's the moment where he thinks he's about to get the votes, and he's like, okay, no. But then it's like, okay, wait a minute. At least my idol play, it was right, kind of, but no. But then it's just like both of them were just sitting there, and it's like you just want to put 2 dunce hats on them both and just sit them in the corner. It was perfect. Gabon.
Yes, classic Gabon. Yeah, I think in terms of, there's so many good Jake moments in this season.
Oh yeah.
And I think for me, it's now, at least in terms of tribal council moments, it's between that moment and the whoa, that moment. Those two like back-to-back double sort of Jake moments are so good. And I'm thinking about the jury, right? Imagine sitting there on the jury and trying to like put together the pieces of what happened in this situation with all the reactions together. Like I can imagine going back after and just being like, what the hell even happened? Like, how did we get a 1-1-1-2 vote split? Like, in what universe?
I mean, I'll be honest. I think if I were Kelly and I were Kendra, like, I feel like I kind of wasted all my good material in all the previous tribal councils, right? Because, like, they've been shocked when someone ends with a dangling participle at the end of their sentence. But, like, now, when something, the most bananas final 5 vote, maybe the most bananas vote we've had in the show's history happens at the final 5, and they still make the same face, it feels like a little less impactful, you know?
Mm-hmm. I want to see Bruce be shocked. Someone show me Bruce. What did this man do to, like, he came back on a second season and then gets 0 content except for some weird, like, back footage of him doing goofy shit. Like, no questions in the final tribal council. Very few reaction shots ever to any of the tribal councils that we saw. Like, I don't know why Bruce is, like, banned from my television screen.
Yeah, he caught that stray though when D just randomly goes and Busha should have played your idol. I was like,
Which I know.
and you just lost his vote, ma'am. Do you
And
understand
again,
how close this is about to
this
be?
even the cleanest player of the season
Go
cannot
Bones!
help but get messy. Of
I
like,
know, right?
you know what? I'm feeling petty. Might as well call a jury member out at the worst mistake they made while I'm on a roll here. I mean, we need to talk about this final tribal council as well, because yes, it was not exactly the war that Jeff Probst promised, but like, we have to talk about the fact that for the second time in Survivor history, a showmance went to the end together and they freaking went at it. I was, admittedly kind of tempering my expectations when they're bantering back and forth like they do of like, oh, I'm going to try my best. Good luck keeping up. But when Austin takes that first shot and he's like, oh, we're playing that now, it was just so good. I mean, I feel bad for Jake because he was quite literally sidelined while it essentially became like Kramer versus Kramer divorce proceedings between these two. But it was so much fun to watch. I mean, obviously, Austin sort of rising up from, I think, the expectations and like trying to talk about a game that I think was a little bit disregarded both by the players and by the fans as well. And then D drops the frickin' Oppenheimer nuclear bomb here by saying like, oh yeah, by the way, the thing you just based on the crux of your entire argument, that's a lie.
Yeah, yeah, I did that. My bad. And obviously, you can see because the jury. Well, I don't know. This was my interpretation. I assume Julie told the jury what had happened.
She did not.
No, she
She did
didn't.
not.
Oh,
No,
okay.
apparently,
Oh my
according to what she told me, it seemed like the jury did not know and reacted in kind. They all believed, okay, like Drew did, Julie just sort of like caught wind of what was happening and played her idol.
Oh, that's so good then. That's such an extra like shove of the knife if she was the one who really got to break the news to them. Poor Austin.
Yeah, I
Oh,
wish
well.
that D could have just reveled in her villainy a little bit more, but she liked it guy so much that she's like, well, Austin, just it's one thing. I know we're together, right? But hopefully this doesn't sour anything for you. I've been 100% honest with you,
Yes.
except that one thing. He's like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, I definitely already knew. Where I would have preferred her to be like, ha ha ha. So you thought I didn't know. But actually, I did it. It was me. It was me all along. I think she could have swept all the votes had she just been more ready to play that game. But you're right. Austin had to throw the first punch before D realized what time it was. The tribal council was so boring to me at first. Like, tell me your Survivor story. Well, I came on this show for my family and I came from. I was like,
Yeah.
y'all got to start arguing or something soon. And when Austin's like, no, I made all the decisions. It was me. These are hold on. And then that's when we started getting the party. And so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you have my attention now. But I needed more of that from D from the beginning.
Well, what if I were to tell you that things were a bit out of order from what we were shown?
Yeah, I
Oh?
saw that because apparently that bomb got dropped early, not as sort of the capstone moment of tribal.
So,
Which,
so all the times it seems like that you saw Austin, to your point, Chappell, speaking up about the role he played, was not being proactive, but more so reactive. Of
Catch up.
oh shit, you just opened up my game. Let me try to make up for, diminish the impact as much as I can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I understand the editing decision to put it last because it does sort of build the drama towards it. But to briefly go back to the moment that Chappell mentioned, which is when I can't remember who asked the question, but it was something about you had the strong alliance the week before, who was making the decisions, well, whatever. And D gives the most diplomatic answer. We all made decisions. We all played our role. Yes, thank you. Her diplomatic role. And all fine, all great. And then Austin is just like, no. I did amazing and I'm awesome. And like I see D's reaction to being like, the fuck? Like,
yeah.
what? Excuse you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the game we're playing. Okay.
You want to talk about mama?
Yes.
Time.
Yes.
Also, let me just
so
say,
great.
how have we gone this entire season without saying power of Dito?
I'm sorry, Chappell, you had to be here to witness that.
I think that was just an immaculate conception. I think we just witnessed another Christmas.
Oh
The
my god.
Messiah was
No, no,
born,
no.
and it's the power
No,
of Dito.
yeah, but not Christmas though. Not the.
No. No. Yeah.
We're not gonna do
But
people.
yeah, it was so much fun, and I will say, I agree that like there were some definitely pageanty answers I would say from D. So I'm glad that at least from an edited perspective she brought it home. But I will also say where she really impressed me was the Emily question, because
Mhm.
here comes Emily, and granted it's a bit of an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, but here comes Emily saying, "Give me one succinct move you did where it was purely strategic, nothing else." And I think with like 8 out of 10 people, if you give the response D did, which is like, I can't because I never did, like that is such a write off, I'm not getting your jury vote kind of answer. But the way D was able to thread that needle by being like, I couldn't because that was what my game was based upon. And also, that shouldn't be the way you play Survivor. Like, I just thought it was a really tricky thing to navigate, but I think also spoke to Emily's journey as well. She had just spoken about how that's something you need to figure out is you can't be all emotion, you can't be all logic, you have to be a mixture of both. And so I think D in a season where she was able to like pull off some things that would rarely work out in other seasons, I think that's a key example of it.
Mhm. I think it was also Dee's authenticity that she speaks about as well. And I think that that is one example of her authenticity throughout, that she's not going to make up an answer just to fit Emily's question, to try to sort of force fit this. It is this very nuanced, threading the needle kind of response, but it works so well for her. And I think that's because she talks so much about authenticity. And I think even from the very beginning in her preseason press, that was something that she was very aware of and very cognizant of. So it does sort of create more of a through line that fits with her and her decisions. You know, if someone else were to try to make that same answer, I don't think it would have worked as well.
Yeah, this was fun to watch for D. It really was. But
Yeah.
it was just like D's win is so dominant, y'all. I've been seeing people talk about it, but Liana, come on.
Mm-hmm.
D cooked
Mm-hmm.
everybody this season. People have been saying D was the front runner since like episode 4. And throughout, they not only let her be the front runner, but they also let her go get a showmance too. You know, these people, and then the jury has the nerve to sit on the jury and be like, and we all knew it. You
Yeah,
dummies, don't
that's
sit in
such
the
the
corner.
biggest self-own ever of like you were
Like,
Yeah.
so obvious about your showmans. And you're like, and
so
you led us into
obvious.
the top 2 spots of the season?
Ugh, makes no sense. And I think it also goes with Dee's social game. We've talked about this before about the strong relationships that she was able to make with people. And that we didn't necessarily get to see so much of on the show, but was evident in the way that people were treating her, the way that people were not willing to vote her out until it really push came to shove. So I think that is really important. I think she also acknowledged the luck factor, which I'm happy that she mentioned, because that's the other thing. We see this with Gabler especially, where it's like we just want somebody who's going to speak honestly and realistically about what their role was in the game. And so the fact, I think, that she acknowledged the luck factor was also very helpful for her. And yeah, I'm was really impressed with her game throughout. Luck included. I think that's part of it. But the moments that we did get to see where she was strategic, we see her make the right moves, and we see her build the relationship she needs to build, and we see her execute a very good final tribal council performance. Not the best I've ever seen, but I think it was really solid.
I mean, yeah, it's tough to compare even in the new era to like what Marianne and even Erica were able to pull off, but still very good. As someone who was the front runner going in, she did not drop the ball, and we have seen other people do that in the past several seasons. I mean, I would even allege like I don't know if her being placed on Reba is necessarily luck. I think that might be her work in production a bit, right?
Mhm.
Because production could be like, they saw me in a certain way, so they thought I'd get put on this tribe to work with these certain people. And that's what I did. I would even say, in a certain world, could dunking on Bruce be a unifier for the jury? Because remember, nobody liked
They all hate him.
Bruce. And so
Yeah.
it's a little like, hey, remember how much Bruce sucks? Everyone's like, oh yeah, that's right.
Like,
Take our jury vote,
he's
D.
one of us. Yeah, one of us.
Yes.
One of us.
It didn't help with Kendra's, but it did help with, I think, all of the other sort of perennial Bruce haters on the jury. So maybe that was an actual strategic move here.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Chappelle.
No, I love Bruce. I do. And He's one of my favorite characters. He's not, and it's crazy because this is such a Gabon-esque season that it makes sense for us to get a character like Bruce, who everyone's so focused on that they don't see the big ass showman to walking to the end, and then they don't see that there's bigger beefs, like the Katurah and Jake beef, because everybody was so hell bent on talking about Bruce. But you talked about the Jake vote with Katurah and how she hadn't trusted him for 20-some days. Why would she start trusting him now? My guy, Bruce. I know that zinger hurt. I know it did about you not playing Idol. But sir, you have not trusted Emily since day one, minute one on the map. And Emily is sitting here at the final tribal council at the reunion saying, yep, it was all me. I told Bruce not to play as Idol and he listened to me. And I was like, Bruce, come on, man. What are you doing? What is it? What are you doing? Gabon. All these people are from Gabon and you cannot tell me different.
Oh my God. Well, go ahead,
Oh,
Liana.
I want to touch on Jake.
Of course.
Again, sorry, I know we talked a lot about him. But okay, so I have my theory. I don't know if I said this on the podcast, probably, but Jake is my Troyzan of Game Changers. Okay. So in the same way that Troyzan was shown,
that he has a big dick.
Click. Yes. So, well, maybe does he? I need to know for scientific purposes.
Jake, are you Chris Doherty inches long or Danny Boatwright inches long?
Oh my God. Is Chris which end of the spectrum is Chris Doherty?
Are we rocking an Earl Cole down there, Jake?
Chris Underwood?
Underwood or Doherty?
I think if he's rocking a Chris Underwood, that's why he's tripping all the time. It wraps around his leg.
Our center of balance. The center of gravity is off. Okay, sorry. Anyway, Troyzan, not in that way, but more that, like, I remember in Game Changers, they kept showing Troyzan falling down. And I feel like I remember Jake also in the same way. There was a lot of scenes of like just little tiny physical blunders that sort of build to this kind of dodo edit. And then I felt like in the final tribal council was also very similar to what happened with Troyzan, where essentially Troyzan even like legit straight up said to the jury, like, yeah, I'm out. Y'all don't care about me.
That's my time.
Yeah, thank you very much. And then Jake sort of recognizes the same thing, that like, I'm out of this. This is not about me. This is clearly about them. Like most of the conversation, at least the way it was edited, especially towards the end, it had pretty much nothing to do with Jake and was all about Dee and Austin.
I have an off-color joke that I need to make right now.
Always,
and I know I can't do it here because this is the safe place.
Yes.
Katurah was in a cult. But what kind of cult don't teach you how to make a damn fire? Listen, these black ass cults need to be disbanded. Because if you were in a cult and didn't come out learn how to make a fire, damn it, what was the point? What was the damn point, Katurah?
Boy Scouts.
I feel like if you're in a cult, they teach you how to live. They just threw her to the wind. No wonder why she got out. I mean, there were other reasons, obviously, but you ain't come out with no life skills. You could make a fire.
You should have gotten married off as a child bride. Maybe then you would have learned how to make a fire.
I mean, she was there long enough to make a fire before the wedding. I'm just saying, damn, they didn't. But where's this cult? I feel like I gotta go like tear them down myself. We gotta take these people out. This is useless.
What do you think the skill set was then for the cult that she was a part of? Like, obviously not fire. That's clearly not part of it.
Water.
Like, they were a water cult.
They
weren't fire cult.
It's like Avatar, The Last Airbender. They were the water tribe.
I guarantee you there was no black water cult, and I can say that confidently with my whole ass chest. I don't know what the hell they were doing, because we saw how the way she had that panic attack over the ocean that time. It wasn't water.
There we go.
Maybe they were the air cult or something. Because
they were the earth. They were the earth cult. They were 100% about the earth. Yeah. Because she's so grounded. I think it makes sense.
I grew up down the street from the Branch Davidians, and I can tell you right now, those people can make a fire. I'm just saying, if you're gonna join a cult, go join a white one. They'll teach you a little something.
I didn't think to add that. Okay, that's great. I'm gonna keep that in mind if I ever decide one day to join a cult.
That's
I mean,
really,
I'm white anyway, so I don't know. Who
that's
would
really
take
my
me.
flow chart,
Probably
though.
just the white people.
Can they teach me how to make a fire?
That's on my checklist. Yeah, I'm looking for a new cult. Do you teach fire making? Yeah.
No.
Okay, great.
If they say no, you go the other way.
What someone could do is, could Adam Klein start a cult to teach survivor skills?
Ooh, don't say it out loud.
I know.
Don't let Jeff hear you.
I'm gonna say it 3 times in the mirror, and Jeff's gonna appear and say, never mind. We'll get back to you.
Yeah. You do have that effect on him.
That was this season. Remember that? Again,
Yeah.
that was such a representation of this season.
That's how I feel about this season. We'll get back to that.
Yeah.
And
Oh
I
my gosh.
want to talk about that overall because, I mean, just what a wild, wild season of the show. And like going in and interviewing the cast and revisiting with Rob, I had a good feeling about them. I'm like, this is like, on the surface, they might seem a bit more regular, for lack of a better term, than like the 44 cast, which is full of some lovable wackadoo people. So we'll see what happens. And from the get-go, this car has just gone in a completely different direction. Between Brandon's panic attack on the ladder and Bruce being 150% different than any of us expected to be, to Hannah quitting the first tribal council after Emily just started throwing out everything at the wall to see what sticks. Like, this season has not relented. Even through the quote-unquote pagonging era, there was still so much ridiculous shit happening. And I personally feel, Liana, that this is maybe the most quintessential B&B season we've had in covering the show.
I would agree with that. I'll think about it if there's another one that sneaks up there. But for me, the moment that I realized this was not a normal season was when Emily pushes back on the mat chat, right? And I think this is especially important because the mat chats, in terms of predicting the winner of Survivor, have been very important because in the new era seasons, all of the winners have spoken at the mat chat.
Yep.
And this mat chat was like no other. It was like Bruce got one question and then Emily just read him for filth. Like that was the whole mat chat. Then you have the ladder incident right after that. And then you have a quit all in the same episode. Like, what are we doing here, people? Like, what even is this season? We literally just started. And I think that just kicked things off, sort of this trail of insanity. And then, like, I'm thinking about all those moments, the idol hunt on Reba with like oh my god, the candle incident, the burning the candle.
Sabaya throwing an idol into the fire and going home with it in the same night.
And not playing it after losing a vote. Why would you not play it, Sabaya? Only for Sean to quit. What?
This is like a
and
fan
then
fiction.
D still votes Sifu out when Sean says, I want to quit. So then let Sifu lead this Sherlock Holmes treasure hunt go in the wrong direction, which then lets D say, I think we should get rid of J Maya.
And then Caleb, successful shot in the dark. Then J Maya goes, push hands had to eventually get their way. And then all the Bruce stuff. Like, what is happening?
Everyone saying, you know what? I think an idol will come out tonight at Tribal Council, and Bruce saying, no, it won't.
Nope. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. I've only been immune for 2 weeks. My number one ally wants me out. Kelly is like chomping at the bit to get you out. You have no clue what's going on in the game. And you're like, I think I'm going to sit on my idol one more time. Like, what are you doing? The person telling you not to play it is Emily Flippin, the one who threw you under the bus at the mat chat and said you had an unfair advantage to be here. I'm sure she's the one who's looking out for you, Bruce. I know she is. What is this season?
I love it. And then even like, fast forward, well, first off, we have the Kelly blindside, which is like, yes, Kelly, like the most stereotypical winner at it, seems very composed, hates Bruce a little bit, and looks like her dog got shot in front of her when she gets blindsided and is just completely blacked out, to then, okay, Reba's finally going to turn on each other. And Austin says, well, I've kind of been feeling something for D. What if I told her that her closest ally was going to get voted out? And then D says, what if I not only tell my closest ally to play her idol, but then also say, by the way, don't vote for that guy. He's my other closest ally. And she still does it.
That moment of like, I told Julie, don't vote out my other number one. My other number, anyone else hears that and goes, oh no, I'm voting on Austin. Oh, and then also Jake, right? Jake's also like B&B coded for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jake, the Katurah, we need to go to Rocks. For what? For why
Katurah?
12. Why would Katurah go to Rocks? Why? What is that going to do? Because Jake has this harebrained scheme. It's like, Katurah, put yourself in the line of fire. We're gonna put votes on you. No, we're gonna put votes on someone else, and then you're gonna have to draw a rock so that we can come out on top of this vote. When all you have to do is not do that, and you're fine. Why,
Yeah,
Jake?
exactly. And doing it for someone who wasn't even an original tribe member for
No.
her, right? This is Caleb who they interact with obviously in the swap, but
This is
not like
this is the second tribal council Jake has ever been to, and he wants to threaten someone with a rock draw.
I love it. I love it.
Oh.
And
Oh my
then
gosh.
we get an entire in 90-minute episodes, a 2-minute sequence of 4 men attempt masculinity in their best efforts
With a Top
I
Gun
forgot about
montage.
with a Top Gun montage.
This is
Yeah,
Gabon.
man.
This is
This
Gabon, and
is
you can't tell me it's not. You cannot convince me that this isn't Gabon.
Ugh, what a weird ass season.
I love it so much.
Ugh.
So I mean the operative question here is of course like where does it lie for you? I would say in new era seasons. Honestly, depending on whatever the time of day is or what the mood I'm in, I could really go back and forth between 42 and 45. I
Mhm.
think 42, it's interesting. I think 42 had like the more character filled cast, but 45 in so many ways is like the most old school season we've had in so many years. Not only in obviously bringing back the opening credits, bringing back the auction. Hell, we brought back the rites of passage thing briefly when they're like, hey, remember Caleb? What do you think he's thinking right now? Which I thought was brilliant. But also, these people, I do feel like felt a little bit more old school in that, like, these are not your Coach Russell over the top characters that we see in even the middle school era of Survivor. These seem like regular people you bump into the street, but there's just like something a little heightened about them that made Survivor want to pick them. And so I personally think it's neck and neck between these two. Both of them are also like ridiculously funny seasons in their own right. Liana, do you have any thinkings one way or the other?
I think that's fair to put it up there with 42 because I think my original rankings the last time I did them for the new era seasons were 42, 44, 41, 43, I
Yeah.
believe. So for me, it's definitely number 1 or number 2 probably for the new era seasons. I think I would ultimately give the edge still to 42, but catch me on a goofy day, although when am I not in a goofy day? Catch me on a goofy day and I might pick 45 to top the list.
Yeah, Mike, you make such a good point about this feeling like very old school players. Because this is back when players just did moves that weren't necessarily in their best interest because they just felt like, I don't like this person or whatever. Think Brandon Quinton just like being like, no, I just really want Kelly Goldsmith out. You know, like,
Yeah.
but why
Mhm.
wouldn't you do this? Like, no, because I just don't want to. I don't want to vote out Lex. It's like, why? I just don't. That's
Okay.
it? You just don't want to win the game? Nope. It's like, okay, cool. You know, it's like Katura's like, I could vote out D, who is the front runner. But I kind of feel like I should vote for Julie. You know, not really sure why, but just getting the vibe. So I'm just going to do that. I have to put this. Damn, I don't want to rank it number 1 because it is such a cracked season. That being said, I think this is my favorite of the new era because the 90-minute episodes, there's so many moments where I think the last couple seasons, it doesn't have the moment. I think they have the full story, right? I think that the Jam Jam story is amazing. I think the Marianne story is amazing. I think they dropped the ball on the Erica and the Gabler story, so those don't even count. But what season do you get a shot in the dark? You get 2 quits. You get a successful, unsuccessful, successful. I don't know. You get all the things. Someone broke a challenge in half. You know, give me this one. I'm telling you, I love Gabon. And I say this with all the affection in the world that I think I like this better than Gabon. I think this is, it's hard to rank the new era seasons with the older seasons because they're just almost 2 different shows. But wherever you put Gabon, you put this and you put them right. They're touching for me. They're the same. And if they're in your top 20, then they're that 20 and 21, 2019, somewhere in there.
And I think what distinguishes it as well, first of all, you would say, I guess, if you're Jake, right? Like Sandra, Natalie, if you're doing 20 and 19. But most like relatable super fan moment we've had in the show's history, by the way. But I think that, you know, what makes those 2 seasons distinguishable from each other in either one direction or the other is like the difference in winners. That Bob is such a unique winner in so many ways. Not exactly the most strategic person. Not a lot of those bones in his very bony body. Whereas
the bony body.
and his gaboni body.
Gaboni.
But
Yes.
D, on the other hand, I mean, I think we can say was like the most clean in maybe the messiest cast ever. And I think,
Mhm.
you know, there was a lot of us supporting her going in. I think just from I hate to use the D word, but I mean, not the literal D word, but like this idea of like, oh, she deserves to win because of all the stuff she was able to accomplish, the way she socially integrated herself, this excellent, like, Arya Stark, you said my name, now I'm going to get rid of you type of thing. The fact that she was also like nourishing this flame of a showman's with Austin, but is letting him get burned with it instead of her. So I think that getting to see her win and Bob's win, again, if you're more so in it of like, Bob perfectly represents Gabon because it's just like the weirdest outcome possible, then that would put Gabon over 45. But if you're more so, okay, despite the fun that we've had, I'm glad we got like a normal winner, quote unquote, of the season, then you put 45 above Gabon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
it? Would you win Survivor, win $1 million, and get some? She got $1 million and some ass. Okay, so D's the big winner, and I think
Yeah.
in a way that a lot of people are not. They let this happen, and again, like you said, the entire cast is sitting at the end going, "Yeah, we all knew it. Y'all were so obviously dating. I mean, y'all are holding hands, touching each other's thighs. We all saw it. Yet here you are." Deciding which one of them you should give the $1 million to, put a dunce out on the entire season, but it was incredible.
Well, let's start cracking into our
It's been an
preseason
hour.
predictions. We have. Listen, that at this point in the hour mark in the actual episode, we had a 2-to-1 vote, and a steak dinner where it was covered in flies and dropped potatoes after Jake dropped his keys in a puzzle piece. So let's talk about the final five and how Liana and I thought we do in the preseason. So let's go, I guess, in order of how they were eliminated, and let's start with Julie here. Liana, how did you think Julie was going to do in the preseason?
Yeah, so this is her prediction, I think, is going to make a lot of sense by the time we get to D's, not to foreshadow anything. But here's what I had for Julie. I had her in the final 3, and I had her getting 4 votes. Okay.
Oh!
I had a tie. Okay. Well, we'll get into exactly why I thought that was going to happen. Okay. So I said that Julie does a great job of forming connections with everyone on her season, but at final tribal council, it's clear that some people that she voted out feel betrayed. One specific move gets her a lot of praise, but also gets her in a lot of hot water when she plays an idol for Emily and idols out her son, Austin, at the final 5. The jury is torn on the winner, and while she gets 4 votes, forcing a tie, Jake breaks the tie in Dee's favor.
Whoa! Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then side note, Julie also gets a crappy advantage, like a steal a vote or something in the pre-merge, and then tries to use it as a talking point in her final tribal council speech that she played so well. She didn't even need it. Think Tyler and his cloud app power. This does not move the needle. I don't know why I was like so specific with that, but apparently
So specific.
I said that her ally was D and Austin, and then her enemy was Drew and Austin.
Okay.
Austin double dipping here.
Yes.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was Jake coming in. I'm like, I've got this. I had Julie also making the final 3. That was what I was sort of like propositioning from even before the season started. And I actually said a lot of similar stuff to what you did. I said that going in, Julie pegs herself as the first boot due to her demographic, but everyone quickly gloms onto her being the mother of the tribe, and the internet does as well. She makes a close, immediate bond with Austin, which then brings her into the hub of the alliance, which then brings her into the merge. When D is taken out, she decides that she is going to jump ship, joining up with the Bellows and eventually helping take out Austin. At the final tribal council, she is commended for her cutthroat gameplay, but at the same time, she is not given a vote whatsoever, and the internet will complain. I said her closest ally would be, would be D, and her enemy would be the jury.
That's so funny that both of us said she's going to get in with Austin and then she's going to get out Austin.
Yeah,
That's
basically.
so randomly specific that both of us had that. Did they have some connection in the preseason? Okay, that's where that came
so
from.
Julie had said that she specifically was eyeballing Austin as like someone she wanted to work with. But I also knew, which is something that she talked about with me as well, she was like, oh, I like this, but I don't know if I can, like, I hope I can betray people. And obviously that was something that she dealt with in varying capacities, but I guess more so with Kelly and Kendra than Austin, considering that Austin made it further than her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like Liana's prediction of her allies are Drew and Austin. Well, her allies are D and Austin, and her enemies are Drew and Austin, because that's really what it came down to. Austin being D's other number one is insane for someone like Julie, and she should definitely be wanting him out. But they had this big divorce. Drew goes out because he's one of the ops, and then Austin should be pretty soon going out. And it just, for me, it felt like Julie never intended on getting Austin out. It's so weird to me that she was just like, nope, I'll go to the final three with the showmans and hope for the best. It was an odd chain of events there. And I like Liana's prediction better because at least it shows that, yeah, she was working with them, but she definitely shouldn't have been.
Yeah, so I mean, I asked Julie about why she was so Reba strong, and she communicated what I had assumed, which is her basically being like, I'll go to the end with whoever. I win no matter who I sit next to. And I know that the question, of course, is like, again, the sliding door. If D votes out Katurah, what happens? I would imagine Julie wins because I think, who knows, she might win that final immunity challenge. She's been good at balance. And then even if she's thrown into fire, they said they feared her fire making skills. And so I think even with an ace like Austin or Jake, there's still a chance that she wins. And if she does, she cleans up in the final three. And so I think that it probably was going to be either D or Julie. We can talk about, again, as Rob and I did, the all hell breaks loose scenario of if Julie goes at the final four. But I imagine if you're apportioning percentages, those were the two sort of plurality percentages.
Interesting.
It's so hard for me to picture Julie as the winner, not because I didn't think she was playing a good game, but because we always get to that point where the final three has the mom in it and people go, well, you're the mom. But in this season, we got to edit that. No, Julie's the mom. That's why she's dangerous. That's why it's crazy that she's going to get to the end and she's going to win it. And so I know they were saying that, but I would love to have seen them put their money where their mouth is, right? To get to that end and not say, Julie's my mom, thus my feelings are hurt and I just can't vote for you. We've seen that so many times, but this time it did feel like it was going to be different. She just had to get there. Katurah just had to vote out D. Julie, you were robbed, baby. That was it, man. It was yours. You had it.
But doesn't this season always zig when we think it would zag? Of oh, Julie's gonna get to the end. I mean, I predicted it. The zero vote finalists of she's gonna be that older woman that gets shut out because nobody wants to get voted out by their mom, and it was quite the opposite. They're like, no, we love our mom. We want to vote for our mom to win, but that's why she has to go in the most scattered vote in the show's history.
Right, exactly. I think we can't just have nice, normal things. No, we're going so wild.
Well, let's move on to the aforementioned Katurah. I'll start here because I do think this will probably be another one for Liana because I had Katurah going pre-jury. I said that true to her own clocked crankiness, she'll be seen as the most negative person on Bello, though a lot of her consternation will be saved for the confessionals. Seeking quieter, softer people in the preseason, she will gravitate to the more mild-mannered Kelly, who will then bring her into a women's alliance. Given her answer to the celebrity loved one question, she'll be the most likely to give Jeff face when he asks, worth playing for. If you remember, Katurah was the one who, if I asked what celebrity or fictional character do you want as a loved one, she said, no, bring my family out. Which I think in retrospect does make a lot of sense to Katurah's character. Wanting to separate herself from her career, as well as appear less threatening, Katurah lies about being a lawyer. However, recently bod lawyer Jake clocks Katurah, picking up on a lot of lawyerly tells that she has. As a result, he bands Bello together to blindside her right before the merge. Her closest ally was Kelly, and her worst enemy was Jake.
Well, that worst enemy Jake does ring true, Mike. I have to give you some points for that one.
Yeah, so I did have her making the jury, so a little bit closer, not the finale, but the jury. I said that Katurah created a deep bond with Kelly, and together they were the precipice of power at Bello. Come merge, she finds a home with Emily and Caleb and creates another but secret alliance to complement her perceived public alliance with Kelly and the other Bellos. However, due to a bad swap during a split tribal, she's outnumbered by Rebas, and her suave skills as a civil rights attorney could not convince them otherwise. Katurah finds the beware advantage, but does not open it. Quote, if I'm not getting on the boat, I'm not risking my vote. She tells the cameras.
Wow, what a
Katura
great
Cochran.
slogan.
As-
She should
Yeah.
run for
as a
office.
campaign slogan. Yeah.
Katura Cochran. Mhm.
Her ally was Kelly, and her enemy was D.
Okay, got to give this one to Mike. His was a little bit more spot on. Liana's was so intricate. I think she had more
Yeah.
room for error there. But yeah, Katura, this lawyer thing. I think that another wacky thing that we haven't talked about is the fact
it
that we
was
have 3 lawyers basically
gosh.
working alongside each other for the most part, and in close quarters, and they're all lying about being a lawyer to different varying degrees. One is saying nothing about lawyering at all. Katura is obviously talking about potentially going to law school or something because everybody keeps saying, Katura, you should go to law school. Katura, you should go to law school. And Jake is like, no, I'm a lawyer, but I'm a defense attorney. No, it turns out he's a prosecutor. He's like, what? This is the big lie of the season, is that we're all lawyers.
Oops, all lawyers.
I mean, I think the perfect way to cap that absolute hot mess that was the vote
Julie.
was Julie standing up and being like, Katura, these are my final words. Go to law school.
Go to law
I'm
school.
just an art teacher. This is just, I don't know, random advice. But I think you should go to law school, to the person who is also a lawyer. It is, you cannot write this.
Yes.
This is incredible.
So good. Oh, it was
Yeah.
so good. I laughed so hard when that happened.
Katura's reaction. She goes, huh? Like, she literally said, huh? Like, why are you telling me to do that? I've already been to law school. What are you talking about?
And
Do you not
also,
know I'm
I-
an
wait,
attorney?
Also, I
But
voted
also-
you out. Is this like a slight? Is this an insult?
Right. And then also, why do you care if I go to law school, art teacher? Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yes, exactly. Why would you specifically tell me to go to law school?
Well, that's my favorite thing,
Ugh.
though, is it seemed like now we had all 3 lawyers go out one right after the other, essentially. And what I loved was the mask lifted for each of them. Like, that wasn't Julie fully unmasking. She does it at the after show, but she was a little bit, I
Mhm.
think, like, okay, I can finally let this up a little bit. Like, I'll just throw out a little tidbit. Katura's like, F it. Stop patronizing me and giving me advice. I'm a lawyer already. Okay? Stop it.
Like,
Oh,
you're gonna
that's so
grow up
funny.
one day and be a hell of a lawyer, Katura. You got spunk, girl. You got moxie. You know, like, she's like, thank you. You got what it takes, girl. You could be a contender. She's like, thank you. I know. I'm a lawyer. Thanks. Yeah. How did we get this far into the episode, into this podcast, not even mentioning that all 3 of them were lying about being a lawyer? It was 3 lawyers lying to each other, and none of the lawyers could suss the other lawyers out.
Mm-hmm. That
No,
was
well,
I love.
well, they couldn't, they sort of sussed each other out. And so they said, they'd make a really great lawyer.
Right, lawyer.
A really good skill set for being a lawyer. Yeah, that was probably the reunion. I still think is not. It's not my favorite format to do the reunion immediately following. But the finding out that all 3 lawyers were lying about their occupation, that was amazing. And then Jake being like, "But I lied the least."
Yeah.
Like,
I
that
told the
somehow
most
absolved
truths.
him.
Yeah.
Yes, I told the most truths. Yes.
No, I think that I think is a close second place to, of course, the most like youthful, accessible cast member, Drew Basile. Give me a literary reference to encourage people to apply for Survivor.
I couldn't. It's like, Jeff, Jesus Christ, man. Like, really?
I think Jeff
Yes.
immediately regretted his decision. When he starts mentioning Farfig Newton or whatever the name of like the German
Farfig
genre
Newton.
he was talking about,
Yeah.
Jeff's like, oh no, I don't think the TikTok generation is going to like this.
Yeah, we'll edit that part out. That's fine.
Yeah. What
Okay.
was more bizarre? What
All
was
right.
more bizarre? Was it Jeff saying, Drew, give us a literary reference, or Jeff going, Kendra, you know astrology. You knew this was coming, right?
No, I think it was definitely the Drew one, because Kendra swung into it so much to the point where Jeff just said the word astrology and this woman levitated from her seat and held her arms up like the great leader was coming to take her away.
A really good cult leader. One where they teach you fire.
That part.
Yeah. And she also hired herself. She appointed herself as the astrology correspondent or whatever to Survivor.
That was my favorite part of the rites of passage / like jury speaks. It's like, Kendra, she was weird, right? Remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, those were really funny. Those little moments, and the Bruce B-roll also made we're going back to the robot moment as like classic Bruce.
And again,
Love
that's
that.
another great little like minute detail that gets lost in the 90 minutes. Was, remember when Bruce got on the boat to go on the journey. And he said, "Hey, Brando, what's this?" And he started doing the robot. And then he lied down in the boat, pretending to disappear.
Yes.
Brucey.
Ridiculous.
Oh, man.
Okay.
All right, let's talk
Where
about
were
Jake,
we?
baby.
Yes, let's talk about Jake. Okay, so I had him as the final 3 loser with 0 votes.
Yeah.
So I said that while initially perceived as a threat due to his lawyerness, Jake quickly calms those concerns by putting on little plays at camp, showing off his creative side.
Not little plays.
Yeah, look, I had the placement right. The rest of this goes off the rails. Jake's quirky personality and accent makes him a fan favorite, and the casuals are devastated when they find out that he's a 0 vote finalist.
Okay.
Apparently, his goofy dodo act, which he used to minimize his threat level, was too convincing, and he had a hard time persuading the jury that he did it for strategic reasons. We get a fun character moment from Jake where he goes on a journey and at the top of the mountain pulls a Lion King / Circle of Life moment, holding up a sandwich and singing the opening song from the Lion King.
Oh, they would have gotten sued so badly.
Yeah.
And Jake's like, "Don't worry, I got you."
Yeah, we do the copyright free version. His ally was Bruce, and his enemy was his top tier acting skills.
Ooh. So, I don't know, Liana, you and I were so simpatico this season. I also had Jake being a losing finalist.
Oh my god.
He got 1 jury vote.
Oh, okay. Good for
Minor
him.
deduction.
I said-
deduction.
I said that Jake would get one of the first personal packages of the season, talking about living with Nana. After Brando
Okay.
is voted out, it seems like an open and shut case for Jake to go, as his lawyer reputation unnerves the others. But he shows off his bullshit artist skills, and in true Doherty fashion, makes his best move of the season when he reveals that Katora is also a lawyer, causing Bruce and
Oh.
Kelly to turn on her. He will be the biggest talker during endurance challenges, banking on his experience at trial and going off script. He will continue in the Kane vein, that's a fun little turn of phrase, of D&D metaphors in Confessional, and he is the unquestionable star of Tribal Council. He's always more than happy to chime in with a comment or advantage play to send everyone reeling. Going into the final Tribal Council, both Jake and the fans assume that he's got this on lock, considering how hard he has played the game and made fireworks, but it turns out his volume in terms of voice and activity actually turned off the jury more than endeared him. He will get the consummate 1 vote runner-up position to Kelly. His closest ally was Bruce, and his enemy was Katora.
Hey.
Okay. Yeah. I like Mike's narrative that like it's Jake the lawyer that they have to deal with, right? Like he's at tribal council lawyering, he's lawyering during the challenges. He susses out that Katura is a lawyer. You go, Jake the lawyer, but Liana's is better. I'm sorry, I have to go with Liana on this one. Yeah, it's just that it's because him being a lawyer was almost not a factor at all. Anybody ever said? Nobody once said, you know what? Jake's a big threat because if he gets to the end and has this and lawyers, we're gonna go like, what are we gonna do to stop him? Or man, Jake was lawyering so hard at tribal council, he got us all. Like we never hear it from anybody else. So I can't give it to you, Mike. Liana, you did that one. That was great.
Yeah. I think Katura in episode 1 is the only person at any time to mention that, and it very quickly goes out the window. Yeah, exactly.
And that means like I think we can officially invalidate the like lawyer is the automatic, game winning career. It can certainly happen. I mean, one reason why Katora was perceived as such a threat is that even though she wasn't a lawyer, they picked up on like a lot of her great speaking skills and ability to put together a logical argument. But considering that how much of a taboo position it is, and the fact that they threw Jake into fire making not to get rid of him because he was dangerous, but specifically to defeat Katora, the actual lawyer, to then have him go to the final 3 and be a GOAT, goes to show there are really no slam dunk positions in the game, except for maybe Sales, which is maybe another reason why D won.
Yep, for sure.
All right, let's finish off with our not so gruesome twosome here. I will start with Austin because we mentioned Julie as the Austin killer before. And perhaps here's the reason why. I had Austin making the finale, and this was our beautiful long-haired fallen angel. I had him going out at the final four. I said that with his youth and easygoing nature, Austin endears himself to the tribe, taking Caleb's title as Golden Retriever. He'll become Jeff's favorite in the challenges, making even the most arduous task look easy. He strikes up a tight bond with Dee on the show, and we'll find out through interviews that they hooked up in the airplane bathroom on the way home from Fiji.
Whoa, stop it, pause. Mike, what? You put a mile high prediction in the podcast, like in your prediction notes for this?
Yep, I could send you the doc. It is to the letter. I mean, I have been very, talkative this season about how I had seen Dee and Austin together if there was going to be an ever together. But I think I took it to truly a new height. Oh, Austin is the first to lose his vote through an advantage, but everyone likes him so much they don't care.
Mike, what time machine did you step out of?
Despite struggling morally with cutting some of his tribe members post-merge, he'll survive the chopping block through challenge wins. And then this goes a little bit off the rails. After losing the final immunity challenge, he gets thrown into fire making, where he channels his fellow underrated bro in Devin Pinto, and depleted, goes down in flames or lack thereof. And he is the one person to vote for Jake, the runner-up. His closest ally was Dee, and his enemy was the concept of fire. So he did not join that cult.
Yes, right.
Yep. Okay. Liana, this is going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, this is really tough. One benefit, I did have Austin making the finale, but I had him in the final 5 slot. So what I said for Austin is that as a charming, strong young man, Austin has a pretty easy ride in the season of Survivor, between being embedded in many social circles and crushing it in challenges. In fact, he wins 3 individual immunity challenges and 2 individual reward challenges.
You were off by 1.
At the final 5, however, his smooth ride gets a bit bumpy when Emily and Julie unite together to blindside Austin from the game with Julie's immunity idol. Austin is completely shocked and gives us an amazing new reaction gif. I said that his ally was Julie and Dee, and his enemy was Sifu. For some reason.
Did you get the entire top 5? Because it's like Julie, Emily, like Julie just missed it. I mean, Emily just missed it, but did you get Dee as well?
If you swap Katurah and Emily, I have the top. Yes, but
that's incredible.
We'll get into it in a second. Yeah,
and I think Liana, that's incredible. I think I had 3 of the top 5 because I had Kelly and Bruce finishing at my top 5.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay. That's incredible. When you said that, I was like, damn, did you come out of the time machine? Mike has to win this because there's a non-zero chance that they did hook up in that airplane bathroom, you know?
Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah.
She was a she was a millionaire at that point. You do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Wherever she wants.
Exactly.
As long as she does not give him any money. Emily fleeced him for his pockets of if there is any cash in there, even if it's Cole's cash, I'm rerouting this plane to Miami.
She patted him down after they were in there.
like PSA.
Yeah. Oh my
All right.
gosh.
Well, let's build up to D, because I will start with the prediction that we'll lose. I think because I did have we'll finish with aplomb, much like D's victory proper. I had D making the jury. So I said that the highlight of Dee's game will be when she gets picked to go to the sanctuary and get letters from her loved ones, considering how much the family visit has been essential to her Survivor experience. She strikes up a tight bond with Austin on the show, and we'll find out through interviews that they hooked up in the airplane bathroom on the way home from
At least you're consistent. Love that.
The prediction's so nice, he wrote it twice, ladies and gentlemen. True to her revealing in her bio to her family that she never got her bachelor's degree, she'll let an errant secret slip, which screws over her alliance. When really, I guess it didn't. That she told Julie, purposely slip out. Should be the first to win immunity, causing the casuals to say, "Oh, she's on this show." Unfortunately, that will put an immediate target on her. So when Bello decides to strike at Reba, she'll be the first one to go. Her closest ally was Austin, and her enemy was Drew. I just realized that I basically swapped how I thought Dee and Kelly would do of like,
Mhm.
oh, Kelly wins immunity and then immediately gets targeted as a threat and booted. Oh, Dee is going to go, is now going to do that. And now Dee goes on to win the game in a dominating fashion. In my perspective, Kelly went on to go win in a dominating fashion. So
Mhm.
what could have been? But Liana, bring us home.
Yes. Okay. So I want to state, and I hope this doesn't take away from my win, which I deserve, is that I did use AI to generate the boot order. Okay. But I wrote the
Okay.
predictions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. I talked about this when Brando got voted out, but Brando was never on the list. There was another contestant that was booted twice during this season. And that person was Dee. So according to AI, Dee was both the winner of the season and the runner-up of the season. Somehow both. So that is what inspired the tie. So technically, she won and also sort of was second place. So that's what we're going with. So Dee is
Incredible.
my winner of the season. She is also a final two loser. Please consider that as a thing that happened. And here is my prediction. Again, this is what I wrote. The best way to describe Dee's game is solid. She was never the biggest target. She was always seen as valuable, but was the third or fourth in line in many people's plans moving forward. This allowed her to slowly and methodically make her way to the final tribal council. Then I made a pros and cons list, apparently, for
What?
Dee.
You
I don't
do a
know why.
SWOT
I chose
analysis
that.
of Dee?
Yes. So, pro. She has an outstanding final tribal council performance.
Hmm?
She won fire making against Emily and won 2 individual immunities. Cons for Dee. The jury felt like she didn't have as much agency as Julie in some of the strategic moves throughout the season, which leads to the jury being torn on the winner. She gets 4 votes, but Jake breaks the tie in her favor. Her ally was everyone, and her enemy was Kelly. For some reason. So yeah, a bit of a weird prediction, but she was my winner. So
She was your winner. She
was
was
my
your winner.
winner.
I have to give
She
it
was
to
my
you.
winner.
That was
Yeah.
good, and it fits this season to have her as the winner and the runner-up, doesn't it?
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Because listen, maybe some of Austin's money might be going her way as well.
Right?
Yeah.
Goes both ways. So yes. Those were the predictions. We did it, Mike.
Yes, we did. This was a
Woo.
good year for US
Yeah.
B&B predictions. I predicted Jam Jam, and you predicted D/Google AI.
Mhm.
We are not going to be this good moving forward. I will promise that. From what I have experienced with the 46 cast so far, they are such a quirky group of people that it's gonna be a weird time, and I'm so excited for it.
I got that from the preview.
Oh,
Like, just from the
you-
preview.
You mean to tell me stay positive, test negative didn't just jumped out at you? That was iconic.
Obsessed with that line. That's so good.
I was like, how have I never heard that before? I was like, is that a thing? Am I the last one to the party, or did he make this up? Because that was incredible. And you have to put that when someone says that, you have to put it in the promo, you have to put it in the commercial. You name the episode that, you know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
there's not an episode titled, stay positive, test negative, then they're doing it wrong. I'm so ready for this next cast. I'm so excited.
Well,
Mhm.
what I will very briefly tease is that if you thought that Matt Chat was dead as a theory by with 41 through 44, get ready for 46.
Oh boy.
Mm.
Okay, I get so Puya is here,
Hello.
apparently.
Oh
It's
my
me.
god.
You have something you want to share with the class?
Yeah. Do you want to know who won the SIA award this year?
Yes, let's see.
Wanna
So
break
we're
some
talking,
news
I don't
for
know.
y'all.
So this is
Yeah,
breaking
3
news. We're
people
recording.
win.
Oh, I know you here. You want to here.
Yeah, so
Here
we're
you go.
recording
'Cause
this
I
on
can hear
Thursday
you.
night. I'm not sure when this will be released, but we had this knowledge had not come out yet. So Puya is our roving reporter on the scene. What do you got, Puya?
I'm doing my best Mike Blue impression. Trying. Okay. So we have one 100K recipient and two 15K recipients.
15, 1-5.
1-5 apiece for 2 people and 100 for the other.
Okay.
Okay, let's each give a guess. Chappell, who do you think gets the hundo?
Does Jake get the hundo? Is it Jake? Because I feel like after the finale episode, if I'm Sia, I feel like he has to probably like reimburse them for that challenge that he broke, So maybe I'm thinking Jake maybe gets the 100.
I think Katora gets the 100. Do
Ooh.
not think that Sia is necessarily a big strat head. She's usually wearing a lot of other things on her head. And so I think she might look aside the game-ending error that Katora made, look at her incredible story, and say, okay, I think you deserve this.
One of you is right, and the other got 15K. So to recap, Chappell said Jake, Mike said Katora. Mike is right. Katora got $100,000.
Yes.
Jake
Yeah.
got 15, and one other survivor castaway got 15 as well.
Emily flipping.
No, I think it's Julie. I think Sia has a lot of recency bias. We saw this happen with Lauren last season. And I don't think she got as big of a send-off as Lauren did, but I would imagine that Sia's like, you got something spunky in you. I like you.
So Chappell says Emily, Mike says Julie, Liana, who got the third 15K?
Austin.
All three of you are wrong. It was my boy Caleb.
Caleb, yes,
Oh,
yes.
him.
Why did Caleb get 15K?
I don't know. I would have thought Emily, but hey, I don't know. I haven't read the article.
Do you think
Well,
Emily
Caleb-
would have politely refused? Let me push back on that. I don't know if I don't know if I need this money. I'm not a big fan of your music, but thank you. And thank you, Puya. Wow.
Yep. Breaking news are happening now, I guess.
Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations to our Sia winners. Wow, I think Caleb is now the official earliest recipient of the Sia award in 11th place. I know Ryan from Survivor 43 got money, and I think he technically finished in 10th.
Okay. And what was Caleb?
11th.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Pretty soon, pre-mergers are going to be
All right.
eligible for the CEO award. It's getting close.
Sia has it in her heart for people who have voted out in split tribal councils.
I guess so.
That's the emergent gameplay. Is when a split tribal council happens, you gotta let me go. Sia's
First
got
step-
15K with my name on it.
Yeah. First step, be a black guy. Second step, go to Sia, get the Sia money. Like Ryan, Caleb. That's like the kiss of death. Yeah,
Recipe
there you
for
go.
success. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. So I have put together a little sampler platter from Casuals Corner on Facebook. So we're going to play a little game, only 6 questions. We'll go back and forth between the two of you, but I did want to sample what the Casuals opinions were on the season as a whole. So these are all about either particular players in the finale or just the overall vibes on the season. So Mike, we're going to go ahead and start with you. So the way that I've done this is I have 2 comments and you're going to try to guess which one has more likes.
Okay, so both of them are real.
Both of them are real. You're just trying to guess which one has more likes at the time that I pulled the comments. Okay. And so these are from the Survivor Facebook page. Classic. We love. Mike, comment A is season 45 was one of the absolute best seasons, in my opinion. I truly enjoyed watching it. The longer episodes were awesome. Or B, one of the worst Survivor I've seen.
Oh man, this is really the alpha and the omega, which gets more attention on the internet. I mean, Occam's razor would say the negative. But I don't know if they liked Dee and Austin, which I'm intrigued to find out what they think about the showmance. They could say positively, but also if they really liked Jake in his fight and Jake lost, they could be pissed off about that. I will be pessimistic and say that B had more likes.
It was A.
Yay! Good.
Yes.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
would say it's definitely varying opinions. I think the majority of them were positive, which is reflected in the fact that this one had more likes. Some of the opinions on the individual players, though, may vary a little bit. So Chappell, this question is for you. Comment A is Jake played a better game. Always picking himself up and playing hard. Didn't have the alliances to carry him along. I wanted him to win. Or B, D has played the best game and deserves to win. Can't understand people rooting. It says routing, but routing for Jake. ... He's done nothing. So Chappell, of those 2 comments, which one do you think has more likes?
Well, I didn't realize I spelled rooting incorrectly on this post when I typed it in. But I will go with the other one. I think that people are upset about Jake. I think that D played a great game, and I think that everyone should recognize that it was amazing. But I think that Jake's story was something that people could latch on to a little bit more. That story of being the underdog, feeling like you try to, get over these obstacles and they're just insurmountable. So maybe they decided to go for that, but I'm not sure. I would go with the Jake comment.
Yeah, you're correct. And it's sort of resounding. So this one had 200 likes versus D's had 50. There were a number of people rooting for D. So it certainly wasn't like a blanket consensus, but totally everything you said, Chappell, I think is absolutely correct. That a lot of people really enjoyed Jake. I mean, casuals, and I think everyone really enjoyed him as a character. So yeah, that one definitely had more likes. In fact, Mike, your next questions or your next two comments are both going to be about Jake.
Okay.
So A, Jake should have won. DDD. D. B and Austin.
D's impact. The ellipsis is now
DDD.
named after her.
The ellipsis. Yeah, exactly. Okay, restart. A, Jake should have won. D and Austin had each other, but Jake had no one. He was always on the chopping block. He had to come back so many times and had absolutely no alliances in the game. He was the true soul survivor. Or B, Jake should have won. This is the worst season of Survivor to date. Horrible.
Horrible. Terrible.
Horrible.
Oh, dare I touch the stove again? Dare I be Jake approaching Katurah to draw rocks once more and make the same mistake? I'll go with B because it combines like the qualities we expect from Casual's Corner, which is like virulent negativity and absolute unabashed love for one player.
Well, maybe you should start thinking higher of the Casuals, Mike.
Yeah,
I guess I should.
It was A. Yeah. I mean, both were pretty close. Well, they were sort of close. It was 76 to 32. So it's not like the bottom one did have action. I'm trying to give you some credit here, Mike.
Close.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of close.
So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some people as we see even with the first comment that were negative about the season, but overall it seemed to be with Chappell's comments that were like, we really wanted Jake to win, but we're not overall like, oh my God, this is the worst season that ever existed.
It's because they love love.
They love love.
Liana,
the Jake storyline must have really resonated with people because you would swear that it was the final two and it was D versus Jake based on these comments. I'm pretty sure Julie beats Jake. Austin probably beats Jake. There might be an argument that Katurah beats Jake. You know what I'm saying? Like Jake has a like Cobra clutch on these people. It's incredible.
No, Katurah definitely beats Jake. I think the question is, what if Katurah beat Austin, given like the way Austin came out fighting in the final three? I think it would have been a lot closer. I mean, I think honestly, everyone in the jury except Bruce beats Jake. And I think it's tough because there's an understandable disconnect, I think, of like when we see someone get a lot of airtime and a lot of, even if the content is like, I can't make anything happen in this game, I think we get this main character energy behind him that's like, okay, then surely he must do well enough to win. And we see that doesn't necessarily happen in Survivor. I think Jake and Xander sort of have that. Obviously not nearly as much of an inferno of a reaction as what happened with Erica, but I see some similar DNA of like, wait, this person got all this screen time and only got third place? What's going on?
Yeah. He seems like such a nice person. I've met him a couple times and it was very nice. And so
great.
I get it. I understand why they're fighting tooth and nail for Jake. It makes total sense. But yeah, just listening to your comments, I'm waiting on somebody to be like, D was great, but Austin really did, and there's nothing. There's crickets.
Yeah, I think that Jake is also the quintessential underdog, and I'm sure that also has a lot to play when it comes to rooting interest for him. But I'm happy that you both mentioned the other two people as part of this equation, Katurah and Austin. So we're actually, for Chappell, these questions or comments are both going to be about Katurah. Then Mike, yours will be Austin.
Nice.
So Chappell, A is Katurah messed up so badly. DDD. I mean, she let the fear get to her, as she said. Or B, B was trying to get behind Katurah, but lost all respect for her gameplay.
Damn.
Yeah. little brutal. I think that vote really, and then she screwed it up. She screwed it up for Jake, which we know is
We
maybe
love
not
Jake.
necessarily the
Yeah.
case, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with option DDD. I need the first one. I feel like that's the one because it's like losing respect for her gameplay at this point. It was like, I don't know about that. I don't know if you lose respect for her. She panicked, but I don't think that like was a mark on her as a game player. I just think she was in a blender at that point. I think they all were. Nobody knew where the votes were going this time. She ultimately decided who went home. And I mean, that's just what it was. And so, yeah, I'd go with A. They've been kind of kind. The casuals have been kind. I'm assuming they're going to be more kind this time.
Not this time.
No.
No. Yeah,
I
unfortunately.
hate Katurah.
Yeah. No, I mean, there were some people that were okay with her, but the general consensus seemed to be, again, that because maybe they weren't the biggest fans of D, and so then things got conflated a little bit. But it was 56 likes to 28 likes, with the losing all respect for her gameplay being the one with the most likes.
There were
all right
5 people who did not know the way the vote was going. At the last possible opportunity you could vote during the season, in a post-merge dictated by, oh, maybe we should split the vote because of an idol or a shot in the dark. Nah, we'll figure it out. Here they decide. No. Every single person but the one who's immune should get a vote. It's the most ass-backwards logic I've ever seen on the show. I love it.
I love it so much. I love it so much. It's a cartoon.
Really, yeah. Okay, we have a tight game. It's 1-0. So good job. Chappell's currently winning. So Mike, this is your last opportunity to tie the game. So let's see how you do. These are your next 2 comments. A, Jake should have won, but honestly, Austin deserved it over D. B, if any of you are related to Austin, please let him know what whipped means. He gave up $1 million to her. I was rooting for him until he got mushy with that lady. She
Yes, that lady.
That lady. Is it LADEE?
That
No,
lady.
they didn't even go.
That
for
would
the
be
pun.
I know we don't do that. We only do it for the Big Brother predictions, but that would be D's superhero name is Lady.
Yeah,
It's
lady.
DDD.
Yeah,
DDD.
exactly. Or it'd be like I don't know, Toe Girl or something.
Yeah.
Not Taupe Girl.
Yeah. It would be the power of Dito. You're right.
Yeah, the
you
power of
called it
Dito.
earlier.
Oh,
That would be
power
her,
of-
yeah. It would be right there. Yeah.
Okay. Mike,
Oh my god.
what do you think?
I mean, I admire the gumption of B just being putting out an APB of if there's any Austin family members in the vicinity trolling this Facebook page. I mean, listen, I love myself some Evil Coon of like, going out onto the wild streets of Twitter and not only posting content trolling her son, but like actually wading through that while watching her son go through a pretty dang emotional journey over the course of this season, falling in love with somebody in a manner of speaking on the island. But I feel like, I don't know, A is just such low-hanging fruit where I could see the casuals be like, to that point, I was surprised there isn't more of a support for Austin. The weird thing is, Austin ends this season with the highest confessional count. And
Really?
And it really doesn't seem like it because I think the substance of his confessionals for the longest time was all advantages. And
Sandwiches.
it was sandwiches and advantages. And then it became D. Like, that was his content, basically, the entirety of the season. But it amounted to 70-plus confessionals there. I'm going to go with A, all that being said.
That is correct. Yes, it was A. Okay, so we have a tied game going into the last question. Chappell, this is your opportunity to bring it home. So here are just 2 random comments that I chose.
Okay.
General thoughts about this season. A, I loved the 90-minute shows. Rough start to the season, but really got good later in the game. Or B, unbelievable. The Idiocracy tonight / this season. Would love to know what real Survivor contestants like Richard Hatch, Boston Rob, etc. think about this season. Unreal.
I mean, like, you say that with a negative tinge, but I feel like both statements are true. Like,
Ooh.
I would like to hear what Richard Hatch would say
Ooh.
about this season. This season was unreal.
Liana,
That's
do it
true.
again, but with a positive inflection. Go.
Okay. Unbelievable mediocrity this season. I would love to know what real Survivor contestants like Richard Hatch, Boston Rob think about this season. Wow, unreal.
It works. It works on both levels.
Yeah, look, yes, I do put my own, inflection, interpretation of the comments. I appreciate that, giving me the opportunity to go outside of my initial thought process.
No, because in my mind, I'm like, oh, because that means you could read it both ways. So you could actually be getting votes from people who are negative and also positive. You're like, oh, yeah.
Oh.
But although, like, so my instinct was 90-minute episodes. I think we can all get behind. That was probably a net positive. There were definitely episodes where I felt like, ooh, this is kind of long. Like if we have 90-minute episodes and 25 is the challenge, you could have just kept it at, the regular time. But I think that largely people were agreeing that it was good. Now, the second one has my attention because this dropping Boston Rob's name and Richard Hatch in there, that's just like clickbait, like, oh, Boston Rob, I see that name. Boom, gotta click it. Like, subscribe, So I'm like, so I want to go with the 90-minute one. That's what I'll go with. And if we tie, then we tie.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Chappell, the winner of the last Casuals Corner. This was the closest of all 29 to 20 likes, and you were able to eke out the win. So congratulations. You were the winner. There was one other comment that had 0 likes that just made me laugh. That was Jeff was drooling all over Drew at the reunion. I don't know why that imagery also sparked something.
I mean, it's an incredible pun that was accidentally made of drooling.
Drooling. Yes.
Gotcha.
Just like all the D puns. Yes. So
Liana, could you do that with a negative inflection now?
Jeff was drooling all over Drew at the reunion. I don't know.
See, I'll click like on it now.
Listen,
I like that up.
For all those people all these months ago that was like too many nerds cast on Survivor, I'm sorry. After Jeff's been drooling over Drew, he's going to bring plenty more out now on the hopes that like we'll get more Drew types on the show.
Yeah. Do you think it was the literary references? Like, what was it? It
was like, the references.
What a well-read man.
Well, I think also it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy in that the reference that Drew made will only appeal to a certain demographic that probably looks like Drew. So it all sort of informs itself. The snake eats its own tail.
Yeah.
Stephen Fishback should be proud. Somewhere he's sitting around like proudly nodding his head as the original of this archetype, the one who's doing poetry on the island and stuff like that. You go, Stephen Fishback. You deserve.
He's like, I did this. My impact.
Well, yes. Considering he was referenced several times by Drew. So wait a minute. Is Drew Stephen's secret third child?
Yes.
Ooh.
Firstborn.
Wait. Okay.
Drew
How old would Steven have been when he had Drew?
Drew is only like 23.
Okay, yes, that's right. Drew is quite young. So
Stephen Fishback, at the ripe young age of 21 years old, had a roll in the hay with, I'm going to assume, a giraffe. And as a result, Drew Basile came out.
and that's pre-Survivor.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a Nepo baby.
My gosh. Survivor Nepo baby. Yes.
Oh, if only they did a loved ones visit, and it would be Steven riding a giraffe onto the island.
That's funny because my first thought was, what are those long neck dinosaurs called?
Like the Brontosaurus.
A Brontosaurus, yes.
Brontosaurus or whatever it is. Yeah, that was.
Because you were thinking of that thing from last week from Reddit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he looked like. So that was my interpretation. So whether Steven slept with a giraffe or a dinosaur, either way, we got Drew.
Either way, we know he didn't sleep with a human to produce Drew.
That is correct. Yes, it was a giraffe with bad eyesight.
That's where people come to the B&B for character defamation. Please don't sue us. We know plenty of lawyers.
We have nothing. The B&B is a shack. Like, come on.
We do not spend $1 on Austin because we have no dollars.
That part.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of dollars, though, people who have it to go around, of course, we end each and every week here on the B&B with an opportunity for our guests to highlight a charity or cause that is important to them. Chappell, bring us home. What is something you want to spotlight this week?
I think I normally like to pick around the same ones because this is the holiday season and my jam is St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. I've
Mhm.
raised money for them for my birthday, and every year they send me a lot of solicitation like, hey, you want to give us some more money? You got it. So I will say cautiously, if you are go paperless for one, go paperless.
Mhm.
But yeah, donate to St. Jude's. I think that they're amazing and that they do a lot of research for children, and it's all supporting the kids, right? And so you'll get a personalized card. They'll tell you about the kids that you're helping, and it makes you feel good, especially when you know it's the holidays. So that's the charity of my choice this time.
All
Mhm.
right. Well, this was such a fun way to wrap up such a fun finale from such a fun season. As I talked about with Rob earlier this week, this was one of those seasons where I kind of never wanted it to end, especially after that finale. Like, I kind of just wanted the final five to be its own episode, even if it was an hour long, so we could all spend a week being like, what the hell was that? Like, I had to pick my jaw up off the floor over the course of the entire immunity challenge. And then once I did, Jake broke the challenge and my jaw dropped all over again. So, such a wild way to conclude a truly wild season. Yeah, I'm sad that we're saying goodbye to Survivor for now, but we're going to be back in a month talking Survivor 46. In the meantime, Chappell, such a delight, as always, a delight, if you will. Any
DD.
Yeah, what would you like to
DDD
plug? Because
like.
you are someone who is always keeping yourself busy.
Yeah, so thank y'all again for having me. I love being able to come talk to y'all here because this is like my type of foolishness every time. We legit spent an hour just like ranting about an episode that everybody already watched, and it was just incredible. And then we got to play some games, right? So anytime y'all want me, I will try to be available. But in the meantime, I got a lot of going on, right? So it's the 2023 recap season on post show recaps. So we're recapping the entire year, right? And so there's a
Mhm.
lot of these like, oh, best of 2023 best moments. And so I'm on the Connect on post show recaps, where we talk about all the good Black scripted television shows. And Mari and I just dropped our 2023 in review podcast for the Connect, where we recapped what we did this year as far as talking about Snowfall and the other Black girl, the Changeling, rap shit. So check that out on the Connect. Also, check out our finale coverage of Rap Shit season 2. Mari and I knocked it out, and it's great. The season was amazing. Check out Rap Shit if you haven't already, and subscribe to the Connect on Post Show Recaps wherever you get your podcast. Also on Post Show Recaps, suitspodcast.com is the daily Suits Yourself rewatch podcast with me and Rob. We are about 15, maybe 12 episodes away from being done
Oh
with
my
a
god.
Oh,
with a 9-season recap. So
dang.
yeah, crazy, right? But when you're dropping podcasts every single day, it happens. So check out suitspodcast.com and subscribe to our Suit Yourself podcast coverage so that you can catch this journey with us. You can start at the beginning, or you can just jump in for these last 12 episodes, but it's a great time. And that's with me and Rob. I've been tagging in for Rob on the Hit or Quit feed with Jenny Autumn, and we've been talking about House of Villains. That finale should be in your feed very quickly because dropping soon. Mike, I don't know if you got the screen of the spoilers, but I haven't watched it yet.
No, I was gonna say I'm surprised you didn't fly
Mhm.
out to the House of Villains party, which I believe is actually happening at the time we're talking right now.
Ooh, okay.
That's a
Yes.
Bryce and Wen collaboration with Johnny Bananas and Johnny Fairplay, just to show the simulation we live in.
It is wild. And if you haven't watched House of Villains, you are doing yourself a disservice. Catch that. And then, of course, listen to the Hit or Quit coverage with Jenny Autumn featuring myself in Rob's absence. I was on the BB Reindeer Games coverage on Monday on Rob Has a Podcast, but I also cover Below Deck with Sasha Joseph every Wednesday on RHAP. We go live on YouTube. And we're about to take a brief hiatus for a little bit and then come back with more Below Deck coverage after the new year. And I know I'm forgetting something, but I don't care. Just follow me on Twitter at Chappell's_show, and I'll, keep you abreast of everything else that's going on.
Oh yeah, stocking stuff when it comes to Chappell's glorious content. Liana, what about you? Because Survivor and Masked Singer apparently are set to the same lunar calendar.
Yeah, exactly. I literally recorded the finale for Masked Singer right before we hopped on. So that should be out in your feed soon, closing that out. And then It never stops because Drag Race is right around the corner. We are like 10 days from the start of Drag Race, it feels like. It's like January 3rd or 4th or something, whatever that first Friday is. So yeah, in a very short period of time, we'll be back. We're going to do a preview podcast, I think most likely to do a draft. And then, Beth, Amon, and myself are going to be covering the next season of Drag Race.
Oh my God. What will be the next Let Loose or Soaking Clock? Only time shall tell. Of course, you can follow me at a Mike Bloom type, and I had a whirlwind day of fantastic interviews with these fantastic people. Lots of very key content. Get to find out things about Katora giving her final jury speech that she never gave, and obviously going at length about why she made the move she did at Final Five. Julie talking about all the stuff she did behind the scenes and how she wound up with Austin's idol and just kind of kept it due to the implications that they gave her. Jake revealing who he would have voted for in the event of a tie if he was indeed that Laurel. And of course, Austin and Dee both recapping their game and giving a bit of an update as to the state of their relationship. They're leaving things quite private, but we shall see what happens in the meantime. Of course, if you want to step back in the time machine, like I apparently did with my Austin prediction, mere days ago, I did a 3.5-hour podcast with Rob where we talked a lot about the episode that we were about to watch in a couple days. I don't know why you would watch it now, but then again, I don't know why anybody checks out anything that I ever do. So it was a fun time, though. We talked about Jeff Probst's Uncanny Valley 70s fan cam video. Maybe even it's worth a watch just for that, because that is truly an indescribable sight. Chappell mentions the best of 2023 on post-show recaps. We are doing a big wrap-up show where you can vote for your top 10 TV shows, and we'll read out the results at the end of next week. I'm also covering Fargo and Battlestar Galactica there. And then the last thing I will plug is that I've got one more RHAP podcast for the year. Of course, mid next week, Rob and I will be getting back together for our 5th annual Stars of the Year Brant Steele, where the people, things, memes, characters, etc., stars of 2023 get together in a battle royale. Not literally, it's going to be Big Brother, to determine who will be the victor of them all. Liana, anyone that you would like to see put in?
Oh my gosh. I don't know why, but the first thing that pops into my head is that kid who made the corn song that it's
he
got
was on
the
last
juice.
year.
It's Cone.
Oh, that was last year? Oh my God, I have no sense of what year
It's also
was.
a great reminder of,
year.
that was this year? That's basically the subtitle of every...
What even happened this year?
You'll find out. Chappell, any nominees for you?
Yeah, because somehow we made it through this entire podcast not even mentioning that Julie stole an idol and just didn't give it back. So yeah, I need Julie in that final spot, because what the hell? She stole this man's idol and didn't give it back. This is Gabon, y'all.
Yeah, so a couple things about that, actually. I'll give some last minute tidbits. So again, check out the interviews that I did at parade.com. So first off, Austin, when he found his idol, that first one with the hammer and everything, really explicitly made it known to the Reba before, this is our idol. We'll pass it around and use it when we need to. And so when in a panic, they're like, oh my God, we're doing this 3 versus 3 versus 3. I might need the idol. Drew and Austin, apparently according to Julie, put it in her bag, give it to her, and nod and say nothing more. And Julie's like, okay, I guess this is my idol now. And they just never asked about it.
Does that count for idol transfer?
Possession's 9/10 of the law.
I guess the lawyers would know.
Yeah. She stole
oh my
idol,
goodness.
y'all.
I mean, again, the messiness just continues to get uncovered from this season, which just makes me so happy. So again, check out the interviews that I did over at parade.com. And thanks to everybody for checking out the coverage I got to do as well. This was such a fun season to cover with such a fun cast from beginning all the way back in April to the end. And I am thrilled with the response I've gotten so far, including from the castaways. Such a great and supporting group. We'll do it all again in a couple months. Really, in a short amount of time, I would imagine we'll be getting some glimpse at the Survivor 46 cast besides what we saw in that video. And I will be bringing you interviews from the island. Had my nice little jungle office set up. So we had a nice picturesque location for me to sit down and shoot the shit with the 46 castaways. So we also have a lot of people to thank. Of course, Scott St. Pierre, the entire RHAP team behind the scenes for, again, making everything look as glossy, glimmery, and beautiful and island hot as this podcast is, bringing it to your eyes and ears every week. Will from America for his fantastic theme song, which continues to be a bop going on 6+ years. And of course, our guests, the ones that have stayed in the B&B every week here this season. Of course, starting with Dwight Moore, not to be confused with Dwight Even More, Claire Refuse, Beth Dixon, Mary Kwiatkowski, Jordan Kalish, Peridium, Shannon Gus, Maggie Morgan, Allie Lasher, the previously appeared Puya, Ira Madison, the third, Jenny Autumn, and Phil T, and of course, Chappell. We always have so much fun every week bringing in people to just shoot the shit about this season, and there was a lot of shit to shoot about this one in particular. And Liana, lastly, as always, thanks to you. I would not be able to do this without you, and it's seasons like this that make me so happy we get a podcast where we just get to talk about the stupid, crazy, funny shit that happens on Survivor when we are so bountiful of it here.
Oh my gosh, for sure. Look, you're the Austin to my D. It's always so fun to podcast. The B&B is absolutely one of my favorites because it's just so stupid and goofy and silly and nonsense. And I couldn't imagine a better person to do it with, Mike. So thank you. And Chappell is our current third wheel as we gush over how much we love to podcast together. So thanks, Chappell.
Yeah, Chappell, you're the Jake. Go fall over or something.
Yeah.
I just broke something. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, don't you have a potato to miss putting in your mouth?
Don't you have a potato to miss? I could not think of a better way to finish off our coverage of Survivor 45. Thank you all so much for your support all season long. We'll be back really in no due time in 2024 to start talking about Survivor 46. But until next time, everybody, we're happy holidays, and we'll check you out at your next stay.